Hi, we're discussing the last unit in Indian economic development. In this unit, we're discussing about how India, Pakistan and China helped each other in their economic development. We're discussing what kind of similarities they have in their economic development. We're discussing how one country is influenced by another country in adopting the strategies of economic development. Now, in this unit, we're discussing how Pakistan, or what kind of path describe the path of development initiatives taken by Pakistan for its economic development. Pakistan, right? What kind of measures, what kind of strategies, what kind of steps the Pakistan has taken for its economic development? So broadly, we know some of the points. There's a close similarity between India and Pakistan. Both have got independence at the same time in 1947. Both the countries have adopted mixed economic system. Both the countries have developed their economic reforms at the same time. Both the countries have given a lot of emphasis to the public sector in the beginning because the private sector was not forthcoming, and later on both the countries have privatized, liberalized and globalized their economies. Now we're discussing here, point YC here, describe the path of development initiatives taken by Pakistan for its economic development. The first one is mixed economy. We discussed it. What is a mixed economy? Mixed economy is a mixture of both public sector and private sector. Why Pakistan adopted mixed economy? For that matter, India also adopted mixed economy because at the time the private sector was not very strong and the private sector was not able to invest in the infrastructural development of the country. Hence, they adopted mixed economic system where you have both the sectors, private sector as well as the public sector, for development of the economy. The second point we're discussing development initiatives taken by Pakistan for its economic development. The first development initiative is mixed economy. The second development initiative is introduction of various policies. Pakistan introduced, like India, various policies for its economic development in 1950s and 1960s, policies for growth of domestic industries, tariff protection for consumer goods. So 50s and 60s, after getting independence, they gave a lot of importance to domestic industries. Tariff protection for economic goods. What it means, in 50s and 60s, Pakistan gave more importance to their domestic industries because they can't compete with the industries in other parts of the world. So they put a lot of tariffs on import of goods so that the domestic industries can be protected. That was in 50s and 60s. The first point was mixed economy. Protection was given to domestic industries in 50s and 60s. Green Revolution, same like in India, the Pakistan also introduced Green Revolution. In the Green Revolution, what happened was they were given hybrid variety of seeds, they were given fertilizers, they were given a lot of subsidies, and they were given them the tools for development of agriculture. So that's one of the major initiatives taken by the Pakistan government for its economic development. Mixed economy in 50s and 60s, tariffs were imposed on import of consumer goods, domestic industries were protected, Green Revolution. Role of public sector in 1970s, nationalization of capital goods industries. Then the public sector, capital goods industries, they nationalized. They took all the capital goods industries in the hands of the public sector, that is the government sector, so that for the fast economic development. That is in 1970s, the public sector. and role of private sector. In 1970s, the private sector was given more importance because all the industries were not in the hands of the government. The private sector was given importance. That's also one of the major reforms for the economic development of Pakistan. Financial support. So Pakistan got a lot of funds from World Bank, IMF, and the Pakistan had a lot of people sending money, remittances from other countries. So that helped the economy to develop fast. Role of private sector, financial support, and the reforms in 1988. In India, we had economic reforms in 1991. In Pakistan, 1988, economic reforms. They also followed LPG, liberalization, privatization, and globalization of the economy. So these are some of these. Mixed economy, they gave more importance to consumer, domestic protection, tariff protections, and they give importance to domestic industries, not importing consumer goods, and then the public sector, mixed economy, then liberalization, globalization, economic policy. So that really helped Pakistan to develop its economies. These are some of the strategies. Now we read out, describe the path of development initiatives taken by Pakistan for its economic development. The path of developmental initiatives taken by Pakistan for its economic development can be summarized as under. The first one is mixed economic system. Pakistan adopted the pattern of mixed economy to achieve the aim of economic development. Number two, introduction of various policies. In the late 1950s and 1960s, Pakistan introduced a variety of regulated policy framework for growth of domestic industries. The policy combined tariff protection for manufacturing of consumer goods together with direct control on competing imports. Third point, green revolution. As you can see on the board, in case of agriculture, the introduction of green revolution and increase in public investment in infrastructure led to a rise in the production of food grains. This changed the agrarian structure dramatically. And the sixth point, fourth point, importance of role of public sector in early 1970s. In the early 1970s, nationalization of capital goods industries took place. And the fifth point, importance of role of private sector in late 1970s. In the late 1970s, there was a shift in the government policy. When it adopted the policy of denationalization, government encouraged the private sector and also offered various incentives to them. All this created a conducive climate for new investments. And the sixth point, you have financial support during 1970s. During this period, Pakistan also received financial support. How did they get the financial support? Number one, Western nations, and number two is remittances from immigrants to the Middle East. This helped the country in stimulating growth. Reforms. In 1988, reforms were initiated